Apologize for the delay. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, state law, be advised that a notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board in Town Hall and forwarding to the officially designated newspapers. This meeting would take place at the Milburn Education Center at 7 p.m. on May 5th, 2026. Meeting details on the draft agenda were also posted on our township website. Please all stand to speak. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cullen?
Here.
Mr. Cosgrove?
Here.
Mr. Rudo?
Here.
Mr. Stoller? Mayor Sacramandi?
Here. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I have a motion to approve the April 7th, 2026 Township Committee regular meeting minutes?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the April 7th, 2026 Special Township Committee regular meeting minutes?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? All right, report. We start with you, Committee Cullen.
Okay, just a couple of things. I just want to remind everybody that the preparations for the annual library book sale are underway. You can still donate any books up through May 8th. There's a receptacle right by the elevator as you come in where they collect them. The actual sale will be on May 16th and May 7th. And it's always a huge event. I encourage everybody to attend. I'm sure you'll find something worthwhile. The other thing I want to report is the Arboretum had their very successful Beak Week. That's now been completed. It was an event to encourage bird watching, but also to raise funds for the Arboretum and also awareness. They did a great job with the merchants downtown where people had a bingo card if you went into the stores. And, you know, if you went into the number of stores that would be on a bingo card on the line, you know, you would be eligible for a prize at the Arboretum. They raised a nice amount of money. It's a good event. I'm sure we'll be doing it again next year. The winning team in terms of identifying different birds identified 84 different birds. So that's certainly to be commended. And there was even a team from Costa Rica who participated remotely. So it was a very successful event. That's it.
Excellent. Deputy Mayor Cosgrove.
Thank you, Mayor. No report other than I have some updates on the Community Service Award Committee, but I'll wait till we have that on business. Thank you.
Great. Committeeman Rudo.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Couple of items. Shade Tree Advisory Board held its annual Arbor Day celebration. Was great. In addition to the planting of 13 trees within Taylor Park to represent the 13 original colonies and eventually states. The Flood Mitigation Advisory Committee continues to meet on an aggressive timeline. We held some great meetings downtown today. Lots of ongoing discussions just about their work process. And, you know, I have to give a huge shout out to Jim McKenna, who's taking lead on all of that. There's a lot of really substantial work going on behind the scenes, multiple nights each week, which is great. Let's see, what else is going on? So regarding the 250th mural, the 250th mural will be completed and provided to the township for installation at a future date be determined. We've addressed the tile that refers to Newark in the best way possible, and keeping to the spirit of the mural. which was meant to be focused on America's 250 and the Township of Millburn. We will be reaching out to those organizations that may not have been aware of the original process to see if they'd like to participate in an additional tile project to celebrate America's 250th and the Township. A final open call may also be considered to ensure that any qualifying group has an opportunity to participate. Depending on the number of participants, we will create a small mural that can be more readily displayed and rotated among public facilities. Lastly, I'd like to gather interest from the Township Committee, which we can talk about later, in doing another art piece, painted frame mural similar to on the side of Haagen-Dazs, that depicts significant contributions made by the Township of Millburn during the Revolutionary War, which was Springfield at the time. By example, a mural would be painted to depict Hobart Gap and the Short Hills, the last thrust of the British Army, Washington Rock, Bryant's Tavern, and the Battle of Springfield at Vauxhall Bridge. This would be an homage to the impact of our township that our township had during the Revolution and provide a beautiful historic rendering of the township to complement the current cultural fabric of our community 250 years later as captured by the mural. So we're coming together. It's all about unity and celebration of 250. Huge shout out to the team who put together Bryant's Tavern at the Paper Mill Playhouse. Amazing celebrations that are continuing leading up to July 4th. Go to millburn250.org for more information. And let's see what else is going on. That's it. No more. And then we'll be talking about more about art at the end of the meeting as well. Creation of a arts group. Thank you.
So I have no reports, but on behalf of Committeeman Stoller, I asked him if there was anything he wanted me to read, and he provided me with this. 2026 Girls Night Out is Thursday, June 4th from 5 to 8 p.m. Join us in downtown Millburn for a night of shopping specials, giveaways, and 90s music themed fun. New this year, free childcare provided by Explore and their partners, Genius Gems and Pop Blossom Studio. Special thanks to our signature sponsor, the Bingos Group and Xiaocheng Zhao. If you have not signed up to participate as a business, email Corinne at exploremillburnshorthills.org. And for those participating, make sure to follow Explore on Instagram for up-to-the-minute information. Public comment.
Mayor, one more thing, actually. I just wanted to say that us four, Mr. Cohen, Mayor, Mr. Cosgrove, and myself also participated in the grand opening of the Cascade at Greenwood Gardens, which is an awesome restoration. And it was a beautiful day.
Yes.
Shout out.
Greenwood Gardens is definitely a hidden treasure that I encourage everyone in town, if you haven't been there, you should definitely try and get out there because it really is truly magical. Every time I'm there and I look out over the beautiful landscape, it sort of makes you think that you're in a different country. It's that beautiful and it's that special. So if you haven't had a chance, you should definitely check it out. Business Administrator McDonald, do you have any comments?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just two quick things. One, just a reminder to residents that PSE&G is starting some of their infrastructure improvements throughout the township. In particular, they are starting up on Jefferson, Adams, Birch, that area, with some infrastructure improvements. And then in the summer of 2026, this year, they will be doing Chatham Road and the Arboretum area, Forest Drive South, Lupine, Dogwood, all those in that area. And so there's sort of a big project area, but we're phasing it out over 3 years with PSE&G. Certainly road restoration will be part of that. We are working with them to try to get as many fully paved roads as possible through that process. But also some of this is in coordination with what we've already had planned, in particular as it relates to Jefferson needing to be repaved. So just again, putting that out there so residents are aware, and also PSE&G should absolutely be notifying you when they're doing work on your street.
I just asked a question about Chatham Road. How far along Chatham Road vis-a-vis the Woodland Road project construction? So I would think that would be problematic for them to be doing that while that construction is going?
It is the length of Chatham Road, and I'm going to surmise that part of their project is going to be to provide service to that building.
Right, but
So-
if they tear up as it is, people are already walking in the road in the protected area.
Correct.
So if they start tearing up the road, I just think that would be rather difficult.
Well, that is one, why we're doing it, why they're gonna be doing it during the summer. Two, when we had the discussion of moving the barriers back to the side of the road that the sidewalk is on, there was an instance, and we stated that there may be a time that we need to move the barriers back across the street to the parking spaces while that work takes place. So again, it should be a limited amount of time. It's a short run in front of that particular building. But that will all sort of be coordinated as well. And lastly, just a reminder that we, the angle parking on Melbourne Avenue continues. We are continuing to take feedback from residents that let us know at melbournetwp.org. Understanding that this is a trial period and we're evaluating it, looking at it, getting the feedback. But certainly giving it enough time so that people can get used to it or not, but at least that we can have that experience and that information available to us as we continue down that process.
We're gonna be trying reverse angle parking at some point, correct?
That's correct. We are going to, once we've given this enough time in its trial period, we would like to also try out a reverse angle parking in this area, which is essentially one move of parallel parking and will allow cars to pull out into traffic as opposed to backing out into traffic. I think it will be another good test, same process, provide feedback from the residents and those that are using it, and those businesses that are in that area. But yes, that is the next step.
Excellent. Attorney Cantor?
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report tonight.
In that case, public comment. When invited to speak, to offer your comments, please come to the lectern, clearly state your name and whether you are a Melbourne resident, you are a property or business owner. Please do not provide your full address, seeing as our meetings are recorded and are readily available to the public. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to prevent all to be heard, speakers shall limit their comments to 1 3-minute session. You will be prompted when there is 30 seconds remaining. A reminder, this is not a time for dialogue or to debate a matter, and this is a time during our business meeting for the public to offer comments. Now open the public comment period.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Kathy Seidman. I'm at 24 South Mountain Road in Milburn. And I'm here because many of us don't really think about situations that other people are in. And I recently had a full knee replacement. So I was disabled for quite a while. And when I look at the parking, accessible, it's now not handicapped, but the accessible parking in the garage, you have two accessible parking spots all the way at the top near the end of the exit onto Lackawanna, I think. Right? Lackawanna? Or the Diamond?
Yeah.
Okay. But when you enter, right there are 4 or 5 different spots. And the door onto a 6th Street is right there. And so I thought maybe we should have 1 or 2, because when I pull in and I want to go down, to Main Street or something, I have to go all the way from the top. So I was just suggesting that. Also, another part of the problem with all of our lawns is that anybody who wants to come to Milburn Avenue, who has a disability, has to walk a block. And that doesn't make sense either. If you're in a wheelchair, you're on crutches, whatever the case is. So the parking lot in the back behind Haagen-Dazs does not have a handicap spot. And according to the law, it's supposed to have a handicap spot, 1 for every 50 spots, according to the Americans with Disability Acts. So I am just suggesting that we consider other spots to put some accessible parking. And also, I know Milburn Avenue is just a disaster with parking, and so we've moved some of the parking to the garage. But in many countries, they will have 1 or 2 handicap spots on the street so that people don't have to walk that block to get to Milburn Avenue. That's all.
Thank you.
Any questions?
We don't do a dialogue.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse and walk.
Good evening, my name is Jeffrey Feld, I live in the public section. As my custom, I delivered various heads up comments and questions and various exhibits to the council. None of them were responded to in the reports. I think that the community is entitled to a litigation update as to the round 3 and round 4 affordable housing litigation. I'm not sure what the status of the round 3 appeal is, or whether or not Judge Russo has entered a order setting a date for the final compliance and post hearing. I think the community needs to know that. Plus, if you look at the bill list, there's always entries now for something about the High Center litigation. And I'm just trying to figure out what is going on and why are we paying professionals to do that behind closed doors. I appreciate that before this meeting that the supplemental debt statement was posted and that the calendar year 2026 Moody's updated ratings letter was posted. But I think the offering statement should be posted also. So the public can know whether we have a covenant not to issue any bond or bonds this year or debt. On your bill list, you're approving an interim township engineer. It doesn't disclose what her compensation is there gonna be a boost? And whether we're gonna backfill that job later in the year, because that'll tie into our budget hearing questions later on. At the last meeting, and after that, there were some discussions about my professional integrity, character, and competence. The courts will have analyzed that when they set a date. But I urged, and I found a brief that the township had filed in the round 3 that was prepared by McMahon Scotland. I ask and I suggest that all township council members read this brief, find out whether some representation, legal arguments that are made in this brief contradictory statements that are being made in the Bear property. I'll be here later to talk about the budget. Thank you.
Do you have anyone online?
No.
Hello, my name is Leah Cruz. I'm co-chair of the Yes Milburn campaign. You may have seen the signs around town and may have some idea what it's about. I'm a registered Democrat and I've lived in town over 25 years. I've always put Milburn above party politics, just as our 5 elected charter commissioners did when they voted unanimously that our town should move to a Faulkner form of nonpartisan government. These 5 elected commissioners, 3 Dems, 1 Republican, 1 Independent, Chris Strucker, Joanna Parker Lenz, Cory Biller, Shauna Tana, and Jerry Cum, spent 5 months studying this issue and unanimously came to the conclusion to vote yes. The commissioner's full report is available on the township website. I encourage everyone to read it before they make a decision on how to vote. And you can go to my website, yesmilburn.com, for more info. Thank you.
Hello. Excuse me. My name is Bill Griselle. I live in South Mountain. For a proposed change as significant as the charter commissions, the level of public awareness is shockingly and perhaps deliberately low. Before the town was ready to restrict gas leaf blowers for 5 months per year, very small change, we held countless well-advertised public information sessions, put flyers in cafes all over town, called lists of people, and so on. It must have come up at 15 separate township committee meetings before the discussion was even official. I try to stay informed, yet I heard about only 2 charter commission meetings before they happened. Both times I learned the day before they took place, and I had previous obligations, couldn't make them. I never saw a single flyer for those meetings on a cafe, nor for any new ones since the commission made its many recommendations. I've spoken with many people in this town, and just over a month away from a suggested revolution, all we see is propaganda, signs that say, vote for positivity, which for the few people who come to these township meetings is right up there with vote for a unicorn. And this low amount of information is par for the course because the Charter Commission's proposal would give voters even less information. Party affiliation may not mean everything, but it means something. My mom, for example, would not want to find out later that she had accidentally voted for a Democrat. Removing one of the simplest cues voters use to make decisions moves our town in the wrong direction. And speaking of voters, why are we even considering throwing thousands of votes our citizens cast last November into the dustbin of history? Normally, overturning election results is known as voter fraud. Yet the Charter Commission proposes to disenfranchise every single person who voted to give 3-year terms to my friends Jamie Ceruto and Michael Cohen, and yes, I'm friendly with both of them. David Cosgrove had another full year left on his term, that would be gone too. Even if Jamie, Michael, and David all stood up today and told us they wouldn't mind having that happen, that still wouldn't make this okay. Because, no offense guys, it's not the candidates' feelings we should be worried about here, it's our voters. They took the time to express what they wanted, and now a commission of 5 people says we should take all their votes away. That suggestion may be a number of things, but it sure doesn't sound like democracy. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Trina Franco, Spur Hills resident. After Eisenhower liberated, mispronounced Ardruf, a subcamp of Buchenwald, he then made the mayor and residents of the town of Ardruf view the camp and bury the dead. After the tour, the mayor and his wife committed suicide. Perhaps the mayor and the townspeople had felt safe from the Gestapo. They were not Jews. They were not homosexuals. Their Protestant church did not endorse Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a famous theologian who criticized the Nazis. And if they were Catholic, they felt protected by Pope Pius XII. They did not have a target on their backs. One wonders why the mayor took his life. The war was over, his life could go on. Did he look at his leadership of his small town, where he was concerned only with local issues, overdevelopment, potholes, the structure of the town council, and realized that he had fallen into a moral abyss. He had failed his people and his God. Hannah Arendt described the 40s as dark times. We too are living in dark times. We too have the Gestapo on our streets and a concentration camp, Delaney Hall, near our town. We must know who is leading us. Today, being a member of the Republican Party means you agree with what this government is doing. Tell me, what side are you on? Then I know who you are.
Anyone else from the audience?
Al Carter, Melbourne resident for about 32 years. I moved from Maryland to Bayonne to Melbourne. And I requested, well, someone requested, if Commissioner Jacqueline Suarez, if she would come to town. She is the Commissioner of Department of Community Affairs. And she has 1,000 employees, a budget of $2.152 billion, which is a lot of money. And everyone thinks she's wonderful, which is great. And under her leadership, DCA has allocated over $100 million through the Affordable Housing Trust Fund to develop affordable housing statewide, which includes Milburn. And we're involved in all of that. And I'd like to find out exactly how that is being done. All these wonderful situations that we do have. And she has so many different things on her plate. And I can't even understand all these things. These guiding principles have powered everything. I don't know if this is done with AI or who wrote this stuff, but it is totally amazing. So I would appreciate if someone would make another effort to have her come and speak to the folks in Milburn about exactly what her department does. They do housing inspection. Has she done that with any of her people? If anyone takes a look at the statutes that these people have to do, it's totally amazing. They'd have to spend all of their time reading the statutes to understand. I don't know how they can go from South Jersey to North Jersey to even look at the properties. This is the way we go. Other things is, how about our new representative? Oh, by the way, happy Cinco de Mayo. Nakia, has she been around town? She's been in Montclair in 07042. This is 07041, I believe. She can be invited to our district, speak to us. Rita Jeffries announces that she is now, where is she? Yeah, Homeland Security. We are all concerned about Homeland Security. So she can come and explain exactly what her ideas are for Homeland Security. We all want that. As we all know, there's been a lot of anti-Semitism. If we see newspapers or whatever, in Queens, there's a lot of swastikas and so forth. In Queens, just the other day. So I think it's important for her to explain exactly how we can stay safer. This is her field, so to speak. That's what Rita Jeffries announces. I'm just an idea. If she wants to come, she can come and come to the Milburn Playhouse. I won't even give her a ticket. My ticket to West Side Story, June 28th. Nice cinema, all for her. I would buy that and even take her to dinner. Thank you very much, Heather.
Chris Heinrichs, 15-year resident of town. I'm the other co-chair of the Yes Milburn campaign along with Leah. I have a feeling the negatives would be against anything that the commission recommended. If we had recommended a direct elected mayor, they'd be like, oh no, that's terrible. If we elected going to 9 commissioners, that would be terrible. So please read the report. The commissioners debated all of this in detail. Everything that our campaign is saying is backed up by research or what the commission said. They gave a lot of thought to this June 16th date. Everything has trade-offs. Yes, we have to go about and educate the public. We're trying our best to make sure everyone understands this issue. That is the purpose of the lawn sign, so everyone is aware of this issue and can start learning about it over the next month. But we think that's better than pushing it till November, because many of the things will be forgotten that the commission has done, and there'll be other elections going on then, so this very important issue would get buried. So now we can focus on it over the next month and decide what's best for our town. What I value most is Milburn. That speaks to my values. I am tired of people who don't even know me question my values because I chose to run with an R next to my name. You don't know me. You have no idea what I stand for, yet you trash me. It's amazing. I can't think of one issue since I've been coming to the meetings for the past several years that Mr. Cohen, Mr. Cosgrove, Mr. Sacamani, Mr. Stoller, that their partisan lens really came into view for a town issue. It does not matter. What matters is what we think about Milburn and doing the best for our town. This referendum will be the best thing for our town. Please read up, please vote yes.
Good evening, Jerry Kung, Short Hills resident, prior Charter Study Commissioner, who was elected at the November 2025 election to serve on the Charter Study Commission, and exercised with the 4 other commissioners who were also elected at the November 2025 election to exercise our statutory powers in calling for an election on June 16th. All of those discussions were at public meetings that were publicly noticed on the Township website and spread in multiple online forums in our town. Now, Mr. Brazel, who made a comment earlier and who failed to identify himself as this year's presumptive Democratic nominee for Township Committee, failed to mention that, all of our meetings were publicly noticed. I believe he was at the meeting where or if he wasn't physically present, he was on the Zoom meeting, where we were discussing the date, yet he chose not to opine then. I find it interesting that he chooses to, trash the commission's study after the fact, rather than before, when he actually had a voice in helping us make a recommendation. Perhaps that has something to do with the political grandstanding that the Charter Study Commission identified was an issue with our current form of government, where we have annual elections. I find it very curious that Mr. Brazel, in the 2 meetings that he has chosen to attend in the last month or so, has had a Democratic district leader sitting in the front row recording him making his statements, which sort of makes the point that the Charter Study Commission identified about the political grandstanding that is getting in the way of governance in this town. Now, my apologies if I'm getting off topic. I did not intend to make a statement tonight. I think it's very interesting that Mr. Brazel is feigning ignorance now. I believe I spoke at this podium in front of the Township Committee giving an update on the Charter Study Commission's work earlier this year. And so as a candidate for Township Committee, I'm very surprised that Mr. Brazel was not aware of what was going on at these Township Committee meetings. As for transparency, I find it very interesting that the No campaign, no one has come up to publicly be the face of the No campaign. So it's funny how a No campaign that's talking about transparency is literally the least transparent campaign this town has ever seen. Do I have 30 seconds left? Okay, great. Yeah, so I just find it really curious that presumptive candidates are now feigning ignorance about a very widely noticed process. It's also curious that Mr. Brazel, before all of this happened, I actually spoke with him on his lawn, and he was supportive of helping me get elected to the Charter Study Commission. So I don't know, maybe he's not allowed to talk about that now because he signed some loyalty oath to a local political party. Thank you.
Richie Seibert, 25-year resident. Every day I walk around my block a couple times. I have a sign on my lawn talking about voting yes. And people now are asking me, what does it mean? I say to them one thing. It gives more people the opportunity to run for the Township Committee in this town without him having to kiss any rings. Now, most of the people that live on my block, they're not interested in kissing anybody's ring because they've earned their own ring. So what I'm really trying to say is nobody likes change. That's the problem. I especially don't like change, but I think this is a good change. At least we should try and see if it's a good change. Because it's very important to try. Like my grandson today made a basket today for the first time. On a real basket, he's 5 years old. And he didn't want to try. But then he tried. And he made a basket. So I'm a believer in trying. I don't think it's negative in any respect. And the more people that we have, whether it go from 5 to 7, there'll be more people that can help Millburn. They're not going to become elected to not help Millburn. one of my neighbors said the problem with it for him could be that somebody would run that wouldn't be looking for the best interests of the town. If they weren't kissing any ring, they could just be some nut job running. And maybe they could take 10% of the votes away from somebody that really does want to do a good job. So that is like his idea of what the problem is. Not that he's saying he's not gonna vote for it, but that could happen. That somebody could actually run that wouldn't be looking out for the best interests of Milburn. So as long as everybody that is interested in doing this is looking out for the best interests of Milburn, I don't see a problem with it. So, and if you're here and you're elected and you have some time left, like I have 12 seconds, and you're not gonna be reelected because somebody else will take your position, I'm sure you'll be happy if it's good for Milburn. Good for Milburn.
Anyone online?
No.
Right, I now close public comment. Even Cohen.
Yeah. The first thing I wanted to address is the accessible parking. I think as we look at that in the deck, the other thing to be aware of is where the pay stations are. Because to put accessible spots in one place and then you have to walk the length of the deck to get the pay to go, and then maybe you wanted to go out where you parked in the first place, that doesn't seem to make any sense. So I don't know if we need to add another parking station there or something, but if we're gonna put more accessible spaces, we just need to think about that together. And I'd love to see that, accessible spaces on Milburn Avenue. I don't know what the issues are around that, but if we could do that, it's something I'd like to see happen. I'm sure it needs to be thought through, and so whatever, that's certainly a lot harder than in the deck. I'm not gonna get into the charter commission. We used to have some kind of norm that, and it's usually because it was people running for office, no campaigning during public comment. I know in this day and age, norms aren't worth the paper that they're written on, but whatever. That's when I think we would be better off maintaining. But anyway, that's what I have to say.
Mayor, can I just address Councilman Cohen? So I allowed the public debate because if someone came up and was suggesting a candidate, I would have said we can't have that kind of talk at our meeting. But because it's a public issue, I think the public debate was okay for this meeting. I mean, I think, advocating, what you believe, but I also just want to remind the public that this governing body is out of their hands. So to come up and debate this issue in front of this governing body is of no moment. Everybody in this governing body has the same one vote that every resident has. The governing body put an ordinance out. The referendum was passed by the community, which, as Jared said, allowed the charter commission to be impaneled, allowed them to make these decisions, and allowed them to call for a special election and make the suggestion they did. So I understand, there was a lot of frustration amongst the residents, and it's directed towards this governing body. But this governing body, all they, from their perspective, they impaneled the charter commission, and the charter commission did its work. I've reviewed the report and its work, and I believe it to be comprehensive and complete, and in all aspects legally viable, along with the election, along with the referendum question. So again, I'm allowing, not that, the mayor also has, but I allowed the public debate to go on tonight because if you're not pushing one candidate or another, you're discussing, township issues and what's best for the township. But again, this governing body doesn't have any greater authority than any other resident in the upcoming election, other than their one vote.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Costa.
Thank you, Mayor. I frankly too, I'll dovetail a little with what Mr. Cohen said. I had hoped that these meetings were not going to be both sides of the debate getting up and making comments. I I don't know that I agree with our attorney that the report that was produced is comprehensive. I think it leaves out a lot of issues. I think it's a document that is drafted to try to come to a conclusion as to what the Charter Commission thought, which is what you might expect. It's going to support their recommendations. I'd urge people to do your own research. Thank you.
Even Sarudo.
Yes, thank you very much for bringing up the accessible spots. And we apologize, the procedure is that we don't respond until after everybody's. So it's no, it's just procedure. Mr. McDonald, if we could look into this, just make sure we have a comprehensive look. I didn't mention in my report earlier, but we also are going to be, we're going out to bid for Taylor Park entrance enhancements, which is excellent. Just an FYI to the community on that. I forgot to report on that. And I'll just say this, red, white, or blue, we love you. Let's celebrate Milburn's 250, right? I think, all stripes make an amazing community. And I'm not gonna comment on the report or anything. I have one vote. And that vote will be in the voting booth. So that's the end of my public comments. Thank you for everybody's engagement. That's what I think. If I say one thing, Mayor, is that we focus on the substantive issues and not on the personal attacks and the disgusting things that go on Facebook. Are just disgusting. They're just disgusting. So, red, white, or blue, we love you. Happy 250.
With regards to the accessibility, that's something that's definitely come up before. I think we can take a look at it. One thing we have to be mindful of is, if you try to do accessible spaces on the street, you have to worry about curbing and also, what side people would be exiting. Necessarily want the wheelchair to be exiting into the middle of the road in traffic. So there's various things that need to be looked at and considered. With regards to the parking lot behind Haagen-Dazs, we'll take a look. We'll make sure that all of our lots have the appropriate number of legally required spaces. And while we're taking a look, if we find that there's other spaces that might make sense, then we can look into that as well. Regarding the pay stations, there's pay stations at both ends of the parking garage. So
Yes, when I was there, I only saw the one
Yeah,
that leads out toward the dining room.
I've used both of them myself. So there are two.
On the Milburn, on the Essex Street side.
Yes, on the Essex Street side. Yeah.
Two corners.
Yeah.
And as a reminder, 1 hour free parking in the parking deck.
You done?
Yes. We're trying to push the deck.
Always a good thing. Mr. Feld, with regards to, round 3, round 4 affordable housing updates, we've been fairly open and transparent with that process. We've gone through our 4th round process, and we'll let Attorney Cantor give an update on where that's at. I think we're waiting on the courts to finalize things, right? Most towns are.
Yeah, so I'll have no report other than our 3rd round remains the same update that I've been giving. We have a briefing scheduled in the Appellate Division. Our brief is due currently June 17th, barring any adjournments of that date. And as far as our 4th round, the courts are just now sending out notices whether or not a compliance hearing is necessary or the round 4 can be done by a consent order. It's allowing the parties to decide that. So it's likely Milburn will get its 4th round compliance through a consent order.
Thank you.
And with regards to the High Center litigation, that's ongoing litigation, and as with most litigation, we're not at liberty to discuss the litigation in any sort of detail. But the litigation is ongoing, so that's why you see charges for it on the bill list. All right. So, Ms. Frankel, you made some statements tonight that I find personally offensive. You made a blanket statement that basically implied that anyone that runs as a Republican or as a registered Republican must agree with what's going on nationally. I personally think that couldn't be further from the truth. I changed parties in order to run, because obviously the local Democratic Party would not want me to run because my views opposed their candidates at the time. And also at that point in the election cycle, I didn't really have an option to run as a Democrat. I think that especially on a local level, the issues that we deal with on a local level have nothing to do with national politics. We have no control over ICE. We have no control over abortion. We have no control over, gun laws, et cetera. So to say that someone that runs in a local election, as a Republican or a Democrat has to, automatically subscribe and therefore must subscribe to all of the beliefs embodied by that party is just completely ridiculous. And I think this underscores the reason why we really do need to move to nonpartisan local elections. Because I think there are people like you that make assumptions about people's beliefs just based on the party they're registered with. And that's very troubling, because the party that I'm registered with, I don't share the values on a number of issues. I don't share the values on a number of issues with the Democrat Party either. I'm in the middle, and I think a lot of people in this town are firmly in the middle. So to say that you automatically must believe, in one thing or another because you're registered a certain way is just completely ridiculous, and I think that was inappropriate to say. Mr. Brazel, so the Charter Commission process, I, as an observer, as someone that went to all the meetings or watched all the meetings, if I couldn't attend in person, I have to say that was one of the most honest and open, transparent processes that I've seen in this town the entire time I've been here. They held weekly meetings. They were well publicized. I know that there were emails that went out. There were even had Milburn Message. We sometimes mentioned they had upcoming meetings. It was posted on Facebook and social media. It was a very well publicized group, and I think the Charter Commission did a tremendous job with outreach. I agree, not many people attended the meetings, but I think part of that is due to the fact that the commissioners that were elected, first off, the referendum passed with a 2/3 majority. So I think that showed that the town wanted change, and the town knew that the Charter Commission might recommend a new form of government, and that could lead to a referendum. So to say that that's voter fraud in any way is just completely absurd. If you're going to make a change in government, at some point you're going to have to draw the line, and currently elected representatives might have to run again. But the beauty of elections is run again, and if you like your currently elected leaders and they run again, you can vote for them. You might get to keep them. So you always have that option. I also find it interesting how you changed your position since becoming a candidate. It was 2 years ago. I remember you did an endorsement for me and Ben Stoller when we ran in 2023. And one of the things you highlighted in that endorsement, which I may put back up on a website somewhere, in that endorsement, you highlighted that you supported me and Ben because we supported a referendum on moving to nonpartisan local elections. And we did that. We delivered that. We delivered a referendum on the Charter Commission. The public voted in favor of the Charter Commission. They voted for 5 charter commissioners who won by a pretty reasonable majority. And I think the public, they put their faith and trust in these 5 talented individuals, and they did a very thorough job. So I encourage everyone to read the report, to watch all of the meetings, and to make decisions for themselves with regards to how they want to vote. But I just must say it was a very honest and open process. And I also take issue with you saying or implying that a person's party defines what their values are, because that's not true. Let's see. Mr. Seibert, you said we should give it a try. and see if it's a good change. I agree with you. You know, I think one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is if Milburn does adopt the new form of government, the various aspects of that can be changed via referendum in the future. I think it's something like every 4 years, you can potentially have a referendum. So let's say, you know, it passes and 4 years from now, the majority of the town decides we don't want nonpartisan elections, we want to go back to partisan. Guess what? You'd have a referendum, you'd vote for that. Or let's say, you know, they say, 7 members isn't enough, we want to go to 9, we want to go down to 5. You can change that. You know, that's one of the beauties of the proposed form of government. It gives you that flexibility, whereas our current form of government is the oldest form of government in oldest form of local government in the state of New Jersey. It's antiquated. It lacks modern features like initiative and referendum. If we had had some of those features, some of the things that are going on in town today might not be going on. Some of the overdevelopment may not look the way that it does, because referendum and initiative could have been used to change zoning ordinances, et cetera. You know, we won't know what could have been, but we do know that under the new proposed form of government, we have more power as individual residents than we do under our current form of government. I think that's something that people should consider. With that, I will turn it over to you, Business Administrator.
Just one comment. I will certainly look into the parking lots and report back to the Township Committee today.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. So Councilman Cosgrove, when I said it was comprehensive, I'm not advocating either way for the conclusion of the report, just the fact that I believe it's legally sustainable based upon the report itself. I wasn't implying an opinion either way on the ultimate issue.
Right. Consent agenda resolutions. Township Committee will now consider consent agenda resolutions. Are there any comments from the committee in regards to any items listed on the consent agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve resolution 26130 through resolution 26137, which are listed on the consent agenda?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove?
Yes.
Mr. Ceruto?
Yes.
Mayor Sakamandy?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Resolution 26-138. Are there any comments from the committee in regards to resolution 26-138? May I have a motion to approve resolution 26-138?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove?
No.
Mr. Ceruto?
Yes.
Mayor Sakamandy?
Yes. All right. Ordinances. Ordinance 2749-26. Deputy Mayor Cosgrove is scheduled to sponsor.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to present an ordinance entitled Ordinance Number 2749-26. Capital Ordinance providing for various parking utility improvements in and for the Township of Milburn, County of Essex, State of New Jersey, and appropriating $200,000 therefore from the Parking Capital Improvement Fund to pay for the cost thereof. This money, as an explanation, folks, would go to updating the pay stations that you see, and to replace some of the standalone meters that you still see around town. I move that this ordinance be taken up and passed on first reading, and that the township clerk be authorized to have the ordinance posted in accordance with law on the Milburn Township Public Notices page, and for hearing and final passage on Tuesday, May 19th, 2026, at the Milburn Education Center.
I'll second that motion. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove?
Yes.
Mr. Ceruto?
Yes.
Mayor Sakamandy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, ordinance 2750-26. Committeeman Cohen is scheduled to sponsor.
Yes, I would like to present an ordinance entitled Ordinance Number 2750-26, Capital Ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and for the Township of Milburn, County of Essex, State of New Jersey, and appropriating $1,765,000 therefore from the capital improvement fund to pay for the cost thereof. And has a whole bunch of things in it, but I'll just list a few of them. It will improve lighting and HVAC at Gerald Park. There's a purchase of a sanitation truck for the DPW. There's improvements for the fire department, police body cameras, various building improvements, and some money set aside for drainage improvements. I move that the ordinance be taken up and passed on first reading, and that the township clerk be authorized to have the ordinance posted in accordance with law on the Milburn Township Public Notices page for hearing and final passage on Tuesday, May 19th, 2026, at the Milburn Education Center.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove?
Yes.
Mr. Ceruto?
Yes.
Mayor Sakamanti?
Yes. All right, ordinance 2751-26. Mr. Stoller's absence, I will be sponsoring. We'd like to present an ordinance entitled ordinance number 2751-26. It's a bond ordinance providing for various road improvements by and in the township of Milburn, in the county of Essex, state of New Jersey, appropriating $1 million, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $952,380 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. Move that this ordinance be taken up and passed on first reading. Township clerk be authorized to have the ordinance posted in accordance with law on the Milburn Township Public Notices page for hearing and final passage Tuesday, May 19th, 2026, Milburn Education Center. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove?
Yes.
Mr. Ceruto?
Yes.
Mayor Sakamanti?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Ordinance 2744-26. William Cohen is scheduled to sponsor.
I present for consideration an ordinance entitled ordinance number 2744-26, calendar year 2026. Ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits to establish a cap bank under NJSA 40A:4 45.14. Tonight is the time set for the public hearing and final passage as advertised in accordance with law.
Declare the hearing open. Anyone online?
No. I move that this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on final reading, and that the township clerk be directed to post the ordinance by title on the Milburn Township Public Notices page as passed on final reading in accordance with law.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove?
Yes.
Mr. Ceruto?
Yes.
Mayor Sakamanti?
Yes. Ordinance 2746-26. I present for consideration an ordinance entitled ordinance number 2746-26, ordinance creating a temporary open container area. Tonight is the time set for the public hearing and final passage as advertised in accordance with law. Declare the hearing open. Anyone online?
No.
I move that this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on final reading, and that the township clerk be directed to post the ordinance by title on the Milburn Township Public Notices page as passed on final reading in accordance with law. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove?
Yes.
Mr. Ceruto?
Yes.
Mayor Sakamanti?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Ordinance 2747-26. I present for consideration an ordinance entitled ordinance number 2747-26. Ordinance creating a temporary open container area. Tonight is the time set for the public hearing and final passage advertised in accordance with law. Declare the hearing open. Anyone online?
No.
All right, I move that this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted in final reading, and that the township clerk be directed to post the ordinance by title on the Milburn Township Public Notices page as passed on final reading in accordance with law. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove?
Yes.
Mr. Ceruto?
Yes.
Mayor Sakamanti?
Yes. All right. So tonight, we're gonna have the public hearing on budget. The 2026 budget was introduced by the Township Committee at our April 7th, 2026 meeting. May I have a motion to approve Resolution 26-139, which authorizes the Township to read the 2026 municipal budget by title?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove,
Yes.
Mr. Ceruto,
Yes.
Mayor Sakamanti.
Yes. I will refer to the full committee for any final comments on the proposed budget. I hereby open the public hearing for any comments on the 2026 municipal budget.
Again, my name is Jeffrey Phil, I live in the poet section. I want to amend how this process, how we've increased the participatory budget process. But to continue it, I think to help aid us, that you might consider some of what the Board of Education does by providing the public monthly operating and revenue reports so we can monitor how much we are expending based on the appropriations. Because when we look at the budget that has been introduced, you know that 2 line items are already in a deficit. With that being snow removal, because when you introduced your budget, you never contemplated 2 major blizzards this year. And when the elections, I don't think when you did the budget, you contemplated the 2 special congressional elections. So at some point, money's gonna have to be appropriated or reallocated at the end of the year. And by looking at the revenue reports and the actual operating report, we'll be able to monitor it. I also ask you to please post the offering statement that was issued in connection with the bond anticipation notes that were issued. The public should understand, today I learned that Matt Larissy and myself go back to Orange, that he was the auditor of Orange in 2015, 2016, when they found about 35 or 36 findings that had to be corrected. So we have this past history and we're not there. But the idea is what we learned in Orange was to make sure that we have these operating revenue reports to make sure that things are happening, that bills aren't not being submitted in time or being put in a drawer and never found. But I have the greatest confidence in Matt going now, who trained him, friend, McInerney. I have the highest compliments, but the idea is transparency. That next year, hopefully, we will have a capital budget that you didn't really update the one that was posted on the finance department. That we know, because tonight you basically gave us the capital budget by when you approved the ordinance on what we're doing. Again, the concept is to have participatory budgeting. Thank you.
Anyone online?
No.
I will now close the public hearing. Would anyone on the dais like to respond to any of the comments made?
Yeah.
Steven Ceruto.
Or just comments in general on the budget as well.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, I'll just say, just amazing job to our CFO and our business administrator. I didn't know the history back to Orange, but I'm happy to hear that you're able to take care of business there, and you've done a great job taking care of business here. For the public's knowledge, we have, just an unbelievable set of projects and activities going on in this township, taking care of our roadways, engaging on this, dream fields project, renovating town hall, taking care of public safety. A lot of really tactile and physical infrastructure improvement that have, that are a dream. I mean, think of it. Think about, how old our town hall was in those facilities, and think about all those hours that have been lost on the fields, and think about all those potholes and issues on our roadways. And think about how great of a job our police and fire and DPW and first aid squad are doing. So just want the public to be aware that there are all these amazing things going on. Feel free to check them out on the township's website, and there's a projects page as well on the township website that details things that are going on from last year's budget and ongoing with this year's. Thank you.
I'd just like to say, we said it at the, at the first reading, as a member of the finance committee, I have the utmost confidence in Mr. Larissy and Mr. McDonald. I know that I can see from the meetings when we've gotten together how much work goes into the budget and how much thought goes into it to make sure that we do all the right steps to maintain our AAA rating. And it's, you know, it's a Herculean effort, and everybody has done an excellent job, and I'm proud to be a member of the finance committee to get involved with it earlier. But you know, the final product is an excellent document.
I too would like to commend our CFO, Matt Laracy, and our business administrator, Alex Donald, as well as our finance committee, for doing a terrific job with the municipal budget. Yet again, year after year, Melbourne does a terrific job with this budget. Our AAA credit rating is rare in this state. And, you know, I think it just shows how good we are at being disciplined fiscally, while also still being able to do the type of projects that the community desires. We're starting to, you know, upgrade our infrastructure, we have a town hall, et cetera. But we're able to do this in a way that is causing minimal increase in taxes. In fact, I believe our tax increases are under the rate of inflation, which and have been for the past several years, which is pretty amazing. Especially considering that neighboring towns, some of them have seen 20, you know, +% year-over-year increases. So my compliments to the administration for really doing a fantastic job and remaining disciplined fiscally.
So I appreciate everyone's kind words, and I would just like to, you know, piggyback on that and the fact that this really is a we effort. The Township Committee is a part of that process and part of that support structure that allows for this fiscal management. And so again, you know, without that, it becomes a different story. And so I think certainly the Township Committee themselves should be very proud of where we are financially, because everyone that works on this and that is a part of it and has, you know, and supports projects and supports, you know, the financial philosophy is a part of it. So just want to say thank you as well.
And just want to also just thank you for the kind words, everybody. It's a real group effort. It starts with the Township Committee. Without your support and your support of our fiscal policies and some restraint, because it's easy just when everybody wants things to give in all the time. But the reality of operating in a municipality in New Jersey, especially right now, is we can't say yes to everything, but we do want to set ourselves up to be able to say yes to as much as we can. That is fiscally responsible. So that's where we're at right now. There's tax increases are going up much more drastically than they've been in history in the last 20 years in New Jersey. If you look at our neighbors, there's 6% is maybe the average, where 10 years ago it was 2, maybe 5 years ago it was 3 or 4. So the environment we're operating under is definitely more challenging, but we have a great team. I want to thank our department heads, all of our staff and department heads. They put a lot of work into their individual budgets. It's not just a lump sum that they throw in there. We just show you the higher level, but there are line item details that 10, 20 deep in their budgets, and they do a great job of monitoring that. And it's hard for them because in New Jersey we're adopting our budget and it's May, and so they're operating under temporary funds, which also is not very easy. So just I want to congratulate them on their patience and their diligence in this. And that's really it. If anybody has other questions throughout the year, this isn't a one-stop thing. The budget is monitored and it's something we're working on throughout the entire year. So public, thank you for your engagement, especially at our budget session. I think that was the most well-attended we've been, right? We had 3 people one year. I think you're right there, but yeah, Mr. Bell is at home. But and the finance committee usually supports us there, but this was well-attended and we appreciate that. So like I said, any questions throughout the year from the public, we're always happy to go through the questions. Anybody wants more detail, that's as well. And thank you.
Thank you. Do you have a motion to approve resolution 26-140, which authorizes adoption of 2026 budget? So moved. And a second.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Foxborough?
Yes.
Mr. Ruda?
Yes.
Mayor Snyder?
Yes. All right, moving on to old business, proposed art council. Ms. Rudo, you want to give an update on this?
Sure, we've had some discussions, in subcommittee of the Township Committee, Mayor, you and I have, as well with a few different, interested parties, and Mr. McDonald and I. So, you know, I know we had a little bit of a back and forth at the last meeting, but let's pick up where we left off. You know, I think sort of Summit's scrutiny, you know, or a process of, which is kind of cart before the horse. Maybe I should start with Westfield. So Westfield's model ordinance seems to do the trick. What do you guys think?
So I spoke with the head of the current Arts Advisory Council. And when I explained what we were trying to do here, to have a single committee that would have oversight over art throughout the town. You know, once that was explained, it seemed like it was received very positively.
Excellent.
I think we need to take a look at the Westfield ordinance and make sure that's, you know, exactly what we want. We have to figure out whether we want to customize it, change the number of seats, et cetera. But overall, I think, you know, this would make a lot of sense. We also had a meeting with the SID director and the chair.
Yeah.
And we discussed, you know, the arts master plan they were proposing to do. We discussed that it would probably be more appropriate for this new committee to take ownership of something like that, but also to allow the special improvement district to have a seat at the table. So I think we're gonna wanna make sure that we have a seat on the Arts Council for SID members, and we may wanna consider whether it makes sense for other committees to have representatives as well.
Sure, I think definitely this sort of group should have a component that is, as is current, with the Art Advisory Committee, a wide net. And I don't know how we feel about that. I think, or an advisory committee aspect that would have unlimited members,
Yeah, I mean.
or not, I don't know, what do you think?
I think.
Or just fine, I don't know.
No, I'm still, this sounds fine, the Westfield ordinance is fine. I'm still troubled by, I don't understand why we need this committee and the Arts Advisory.
No, so we would disband it.
Sorry,
Oh, you didn't say that.
this
would
would
replace.
this would replace. So this
Oh,
would
okay.
subsume all the responsibilities of the Art Advisory Committee and expand them as well.
And it would have a proposed liaison from town hall that would sit on this.
Yes, as I said, I think we need to
Not
yes,
necessarily
we
a
put
member of the
ordinance
township
together,
committee.
we should figure out, I think we also need to have a liaison role from the CDC, the Cultural Diversity Committee. So
Yes.
I think we should put a little thought into that, and then you know, we can circulate a draft ordinance and see if there are further comments.
Yeah, the committee would comment, the committee.
I would also propose to have somebody not necessarily from the Board of Trustees, but somebody representing the library, because there's a lot of art.
Yep.
Certainly on the second floor, but you know, again, that's public space and, you know, they should be a liaison, one of the employees from the library could have a seat in this committee as well.
Employee or library board member?
Either.
Sure.
Or for.
Committee, Cosgrove, what do you?
That's fine with me.
Okay, all right, great, so I'll work sidebar. Would you like to work with me, Mayor?
Sure.
Great, so we'll work together and get an ordinance together for the 19th. Yeah, we'll see where we're at.
Whenever it comes.
We'll see
together.
where we're at.
All right, moving on to new business, Community Service Award Committee, Deputy Mayor
Oh,
Cosgrove.
actually, Mayor, maybe we should also say, should we authorize maybe the advertisement of people like we did prior to get, if they're interested in the volunteer interest for the art?
Well, I think that when we do the first reading, then we can.
Then we circulate.
We can circulate that out and update the form at that time. I think
That's
that's how we
that's how
did
we
it.
handle it, at least then
last time.
people know what it consists of.
Right.
Okay,
exactly.
all right, sounds
I
good.
feel like people should at least see the ordinance to know what they're signing up for.
Sure.
But I also think that it would probably make sense any of the current art advisory committee members that want to be part of the new board, you know, they should be automatically.
Yeah, and any member of the public who has any opinions on art, feel free to email me.
So, new business, community service award committee.
Thank you, Mayor. On for new business is just, talking about this committee. It already exists. I'm the liaison to it. They had not had a meeting. So I reached out to try to get a meeting scheduled. And the good news is we have a meeting scheduled, this Thursday. So I'll push the committee at that point to select a chair. For those of you not familiar with the committee, what it does is it considers who in the town, what citizens should get an award for their involvement in the town and the good they've done in the town. You can go to the town website, you can see the current members, you can go to the town site, and it goes pretty far back about who's gotten the awards. The awards have, been from, I think, 2 or 3 a year to sometimes just 1 a year. So anyway, so what I'd like to do is report back to this committee once the meeting occurs. There is not, from what and Ms. Scotty can correct me, I don't think there's really a resolution out there, a formal resolution committee, that designates the committee and sets forth the number of members, et cetera. But there was a vote by the township committee a long time ago to constitute it.
Correct, yeah, there was a motion made, I believe, in the 90s, and it's kind of been running that way since then, but it might be a good idea to consider codifying, once you have your discussion, to making it.
So did we, at the reorg, did we reauthorize it?
We appoint people to the group,
We appointed.
yeah, to the group, and they just function the same way, and they meet a few times a year, and it's kind of very informal.
So we've been working to try and move all of these committees to ordinances so that we don't have to re-adopt the resolution every year. If this is something that we think we want to have remain as a permanent fixture, I would suggest that we codify it via ordinance. It just makes things cleaner, especially if we end up having a new form of government potentially. I think it's gonna be a lot easier if we have all the ordinances and then they can look at that and re-examine that and do what they need to do with that.
Perhaps Mr. Cosgrove can speak to the group at their next meeting and come up with some suggestions that you can report back, and you can work on a draft ordinance.
That sounds good. While we're talking about it, any suggestions from the committee about reps from other committees that should be? I can't think of anyone off the top, but I'm not trying to foreclose it.
Yeah, I think that the advisory committee, community service advisory committee, much like the cultural diversity committee, I think anyone in the community that wants to be part of it should be able to be part of it. I wouldn't cap it. So in that case, I don't know if we need to do specific carve out for liaison positions, but if you think that it would be helpful, we certainly could. We just have to figure out what boards.
I'm not pushing for it.
I think the
just
historical
throwing it out there.
society would be, I encourage somebody from that. Because they have the historical records on.
So maybe this is something, to take to the current committee and as you're building the ordinance, figure out if it makes sense to have dedicated liaison positions and if so, committees those would come from
Or not, yeah.
Right.
Thank you. That's all I need.
Great. Second, public comment. This public comment period is to allow for final comments from the community. When invited to speak, offer your comments. Please come to the lectern, clearly state your name, whether you are a Millburn resident, a property or business owner. Please do not provide your full address, seeing as our meetings are recorded and readily available to the public. Reminder that in order to help facilitate an orderly meeting and permit all to be heard, speakers shall limit their comments to 1 3-minute session. Now open the public comment period.
Trina Franco again, from Short Hills. I just want to thank our mayor and local townspeople for reassuring me about their values. Because when I vote for someone, I need to know their values and what they stand for. And the only way I can learn that is by what they tell me and what you say in these meetings. So that you believe in the Constitution, that you believe in due process, that you believe that people shouldn't be picked up off the streets and killed for just protesting. That's reassuring to hear. Thank you.
Anyone else from the audience?
Sure.
All right.
I'd just like to reiterate, I think the township committee has done a fabulous job from a financial standpoint. I'm going to other townships reading their records. Wonderful town of Montclair, they misplaced $17 million. And they're very bright folks up there. And tomorrow they're going to try to figure out how they're going to, what they're going to do with their schools. What school is going to be closed, as you know. And form of government. They elect their mayor directly. Doesn't matter how they direct. What's his name? Remember, what was his name? Spiller? Sure. And he wanted to be governor, he wanted to be congressman. He was the mayor. And somehow there was $17 million that was booked, whatever. How this town works, whether it works as a representative of whatever type of government, people work here. And the mayor works, and the township committee works. And that's very, very important. And Alex, you do a very, very good job. And the people are working very, very well. I don't like to see people going after each other on a personal basis. That happens. I've been involved in politics since I was 12 years old. I met my first congressman, Darunian. He was a Republican. Family was Democratic. Although my father could not vote because he came from Ukraine via Canada, in Pittsburgh and in Brooklyn. That's the way it was. And that's the way, and I got involved when I was 12. I met him. And I met all the Congress people later on, and then Washington and so forth. And I think it's very, very important that you folks just do the best that you can. You guys are doing, it's all men, are doing a very, very good job. Have a great day.
Anyone online?
No, ma'am.
All right, and I now close public comment. Stephen Cohen?
Have no response.
Deputy Mayor Cosgrove?
No response, thank you, Mayor.
Stephen Spudo?
Just want to say, it's great to hear this praise for our business administrator and the staff in town hall. They do an amazing job and keep it up.
One final comment in response to Sprinkle. I would suggest the way you can learn about a candidate's values is by having a conversation with them, by asking them, by doing their research. Don't get a party label to have a conversation with someone. And I think you'll find that when you have conversations with most people in town, they don't fit into a particular box. They don't agree 100% with, their party, regardless of which party it is. So, encourage everyone to have conversations with each other if you want to learn about it. Business Administrator McDonald, any responses? Attorney Cantor? Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.